Hello. So I'm going to do this vlog in bed, laying on my back because I am so tired from this weekend. But don't worry, I'll get you guys some reels so you can just see how much fun I had this weekend. But let's start off with how I met my best friend. And that is when I was a sophomore, he was a junior. He was a part of student council. He was an athlete. He was a gentleman. And so I don't know if this is just a girl thing or if it's just a me thing, but as soon as I met him, I said, I'm going to marry that man. And so he was one of them. We had a good friendship throughout high school, throughout college. We would go on dates together. We would watch movies together. We would snowboard together. He's actually the one that taught me how to shoot a gun for the first time ever. We would go to the gym together and hit up the hot tub after we snowboarded. We had dinner with each other's parents multiple times. Both our parents loved us for each other. But when it came to what we both wanted for the future, that's when it just never matched. And he never wanted kids. And that was something I thought that I did want for a very long time. So, human life really isn't negotiable. And so we went our separate ways. We lived our separate lives. I got married. I had my son. And then we rekindled our friendship when me and my husband was going through some stuff, and we still dated and did everything like we used to again, but we still didn't hook up at that point. We actually really didn't hook up until after me and my husband were completely legally divorced. We even tried to be a little serious. We would take our dogs on doggy play dates. He met my son. He was going to invite me and my son over for Bronco games and barbecues, but then that's when he got the job opportunity to be a project engineer in Vegas. And so obviously I told him, like, for him not to miss that opportunity. And I did talk about that, I think, in one of my other episodes before. And so he did. We would see each other 1 to 3 times a year whenever he was in town visiting his family. We would try to get together, whether it was just for dinner or anything like that. When I was in Vegas, and I spent the whole entire time with him. And so my first trip to Vegas and my first experience with him was right before COVID in January 2020. I stood with him at his house, and we went to the Tim Burton exhibit at the Neon Museum, and it was a very beautiful and emotional experience that we got to share together. He took me to Area 51, and we had so much fun, and that was the first Meow Wolf that I ever been to as well. He always told me that he had feelings for me and that he wished that I would be more serious and would be able to do a long distance relationship, but I always communicated to him that just was not possible for me. I'm the kind of person that needs to be with somebody at least once every 2 weeks, bare minimum. I would love to see you every day, wake up to you every day, a real fucking relationship. And so I told him I just couldn't do it, and I didn't want to fix something that wasn't broken. I didn't want to tarnish our relationship that we had and risk losing our friendship. And so I treaded lightly for a very, very long time. And he always did small, little, simple things to, win me over, like buying me lingerie and dresses and taking me to fancy dinners and being just thoughtful and mindful and like going to events that he knew that I would like. He took me to the Haunted Museum. We went to Drake together. We would party together and go to other different things, like we saw DJ Snake together, we seen T-Pain together, we seen Dita Von Teese together. And I did kind of ruin his birthday though when we seen Chris Angel, because I was tripping balls on a 40-gram edible, but that's a whole other story within itself. So maybe I might have that as an option for a bonus vlog. But anyway, so he's literally seen me at the worst, and he still liked and loved me for who I was, and I never scared him away for a very long time. And so the first trip that I took with my son, he was so perfect the whole entire time for us. He did an escape room with us. He took us to dinner. He cruised the strip with me and my son, and he let my son, go up into his sunroof. And we had a good time, and my son got along with him. He even invited him to play games with him at the arcade after the escape room. And then probably a year or two ago, I ended up spending a whole entire week with him, and I did not expect to fall in love with him. I didn't really know what I expected, but I did. And then when I seen that he started to get healthy and take care of himself, and was a little more cleanly with his house, like, I started to fall for him even more. And so I finally admitted my feelings for him, and then he fell back. We talked about traveling the world together, and then he was going to come spend his birthday weekend with me, and he ended up booking a trip to Spain instead with his family, even though he knew that his family loved me and that would have been a great experience for everybody. And he just chose not to include me, even though we literally talked about traveling together. And so that was the first strike. And then the second strike, I had went for Rockabilly weekend, and I set a whole entire day just to spend with him, and he was too hungover. And I'm like, okay, so you chose this one weekend to get shit faced when you knew that we had plans and just diss me out like that. And so my sweet dad, he ended up spending the day with me and took me to the Rockabilly pool party. So it was so much fun. So, I don't let shit get me down. When dudes fuck up, I'm still gonna have fun with or without them. I always say they're either in the way, either way it's gonna happen. So that was the second strike. And then the third strike was he disappointed me and my son. Oh, it's one thing to disappoint me, but when you disappoint my son, there's no coming back from that. The second time we go, he does another other escape room with us, and he's supposed to pick us up from the hotel and take us to the airport and take us to eat before, and he's too drunk again. And I'm like, okay, bro, like, if you can't keep your shit together for like one weekend every couple months, then what the fuck are we doing? And so we just didn't really talk at all. Like, I ghosted him a little bit. I told him happy birthday when it was his birthday, and I haven't heard from him since. And so it really sucks, really sad, because I truly thought that our friendship could withstand anything, that no matter what happened between us, nothing would ever change. And so that's when I regret everything, is admitting my feelings for him. That's just something I should have never done. I should have never expected more from him or anything like that. And so I do blame myself, and I should have, toughed that shit out and kept those feelings dug deep down in there, and I fucked it all up. So that's why I am the way I am. That's why I tread lightly. That's why I don't trust anybody easily. So if a 25-year friendship can be tarnished over I don't even fucking know what, like just not having the thrill of the chase anymore, or not being able to be the person that I thought you were, then I don't know. I think I'm gonna be alone forever, guys.